Banks have become the bridge that connect us with money. But how did they come into existence all of a sudden? Let's turn over the pages of banking history. The first banking system was started in Italy. In the Middle Ages, Italians used to carry out their commercial trading and transactions sitting on a bench. In Italian, the word banco refers to a bench. With the intervention of many clients and customers, the word banco underwent changes and became bank. Technically, banking system was started right in the Paleolithic age with the advent of barter system. People exchanged and traded goods they already had for things they needed. It was beneficial up till the point when people felt that they required a common commercial tool for trading. As gold was commonly used by everyone, people started using gold coins as a trading tool, which led to the birth of banks. The inception of banks was mainly due to two kinds of people: the merchants and the goldsmiths. The traditional banking system was initiated through the concept of safe deposits. When the merchants traveled all over the world, they needed a place to safeguard their gold coins. Hence, they approached the goldsmiths to store these surplus gold in their safety vaults. This is how safe deposits came into existence.
Bank in America is required by law to keep 6% of its capital in its regional reserve bank. In exchange, that private bank receives an equivalent amount of shares in the regional reserve bank. These shares, however, are quite different from the shares of public companies. Their price is fixed at $100 per share and they can't be sold or traded. They carry voting rights to about 2/3 of the board of directors for that regional reserve bank, but as we know, the real power is in the board of governors appointed by the president. What these shares do have, however, is a fixed 6% dividend per year. Now it's worth noting that this dividend doesn't entitle the banks to any of the Fed's profits. Instead, everything the Fed earns above that 6% payout goes directly into the Treasury. And keep in mind, the Fed is very profitable. In 2017, it sent $80 billion to the Treasury, while only paying out $14 billion to the regular banks.
They understand the concept of banking. All the banks are broke. Bank Santander, Deutsche Bank, Royal Bank of Scotland, they're all broke. And why are they broke? It isn't an act of God. It isn't some sort of tsunami. They're broke because we have a system called fractional reserve banking, which means that banks can lend money that they don't actually have. It's a criminal scandal and it's been going on for too long. To add to that problem, you have moral hazard, a very significant moral hazard from the political sphere. And most of the problem starts in politics and central banks, which are part of the same political system. We have counterfeiting, sometimes called quantitative easing, but counterfeiting by any other name. The artificial printing of money, which if any ordinary person did, they'd go to prison for a very long time. And yet governments and central banks do it all the time.
What have you done to investigate the off-balance sheet transactions conducted by the Federal Reserve, which, according to Bloomberg, now total $9 trillion in the last 8 months?
I'll have to look specifically at that Bloomberg article. I'm not, I don't know if I have actually seen that particular one.
That's not the point. The question is, have you done any investigation or auditing of off-balance sheet transactions conducted by the Federal Reserve?
At this point, we're conducting our lending facility project at a fairly high level and have not gotten to a specific level of detail to really be in a position to respond to your question.
Mr. Chairman, my time is up, but I have to tell you honestly, I am shocked to find out that nobody at the Federal Reserve, including the Inspector General, is keeping track of this.
Now, what if I told you that they are right to worry? That a catastrophe is not only coming, but it is a mathematical certainty.
First, it's obvious that this is the death of capital and money markets. There is no doubt about it.
So the unsustainability of the American and European economic systems is really quite clear and very real.
Hey, Mark.
A buying opportunity.
Mark, what's the end game here? Is it the collapse of Western civilization as we know it, the capitalist system? Where are we going here? How must it inevitably end, in your opinion?
I mean, you have a computer. Occasionally the computer will crash and then you have to reboot it. That will happen to the global economy.
Jerry Salenti is one of the few people on the planet who predicted with uncanny accuracy and precision exactly what would happen to the United States economy in the fall of 2008. And now we hear prediction of what happening when, Jerry?
It's underway now. The timing is very difficult because these things are so manipulated, whether it's high-frequency trading, black pools, Madoffs or rip-offs. We know that there's a lot of behind-the-scenes manipulation going on. They want to make it appear that things are calm.
Have you ever wondered why Canada is in debt? Have you ever wondered why the government forces Canadians to pay so many taxes? Have you ever wondered why the bankers from the largest private banks are becoming wealthier and the rest of us are not? Have you ever wondered why the gross national debt is over $800 billion? Or why we are spending $160 million a day on the interest of the national debt? That's $60 billion a year. Have you ever wondered who receives the $60 billion? What I have discovered is the banks and the government have colluded to financially enslave the people of Canada.
Hay compromisos nacionales urgentes y nosotros primero pondremos los compromisos nacionales a los compromisos internacionales. En buena hora, si podemos cumplir ambos, pero nuestras prioridades son muy claras. Primero, la vida antes que la deuda.
Ο Ισημερινός θα μπορούσε να είναι μία από τις πλουσιότερες χώρες της Νότιας Αμερικής. Από τη στιγμή όμως που ανακαλύφθηκε πετρέλαιο, η χώρα γνώρισε μόνο δικτάτορες, φτώχεια, συσσωρευμένο χρέος και οικονομικούς δολοφόνους.
My real job was deal making. It was giving loans to other countries, huge loans, much bigger than they could possibly repay. And one of the conditions of the loan, let's say $1 billion loan to a country like Indonesia or Ecuador, and this country would then have to give 90% of that loan back to a U.S. company or U.S. companies to build the infrastructure, a Halliburton or a Bechtel. These were big ones. And those companies would then go in and build an electrical system or ports or highways, and these would basically serve just a few of the very wealthiest families in those countries. The poor people in those countries would be stuck ultimately with this amazing debt that they couldn't possibly repay.